generation. And procedural generation is basically a special sequence, an algebraic sequence, which generates all sorts of objects, maps, paintings, and music. And that's precisely where it's used. Over here you can see a fractal, which is an image with an infinite perimeter, which is generated using procedural generation. So basically it repeats itself the more you zoom into its perimeter. There you can see the example of procedural generation in a game level, as it's made right in front of you with all the intricate niches and details. Here you can see art, which is basically just visualized. Here you can see a sphere, which is visualized music using procedural generation, which turned out looking cracked. And over here you can see a level, some procedurally generated trees, which look like fractals once again, and a special landscape, which was generated in 2004 as part of the development of the infamous game Sport. Let's talk about overview. This is another fascinating example of procedural generation. This is terrain, which was generated fully with sound. They took different sound waves, they mixed them up, and they used that as raw data to make this beautiful planet. And all sorts of different input data have been used before to visualize them. However, this one is quite beautiful, and I decided to use it as one of my examples. Now, the most infamous place where procedural generation is used is in video games, or in music. And over there, it is used to generate these amazing levels and worlds of which can be just as beautiful as you can imagine. And the reason for that is because if you let something repeat infinite times, it'll end up creating something beautiful. If you teach infinite amounts, if you give infinite amounts of monkeys paper and pens, they will somehow write Shakespeare after a while. And this is the same principle that works with procedural generation. So it can make these beautiful, amazing worlds, which are just so great, we cannot just, it's fascinating and we cannot even imagine it. It can be so intricate and detailed. And that's what happened with the game No Man's Sky 2013. It was a game with over 200 billion different worlds and planets which you could visit. And that's so many planets that are visitable and playable that it's almost impossible to play the game over and over again and achieve the same runs or to beat it in your lifetime. It's just that huge. Over here you can see some early implementations of procedural generation in game development, as in the games NetHack, Beneath Half Manor, and Rogue. And these games were basically just early roguelike games, some of the first games which were ever released. And they used procedural generation to save up memory and development time to release a lot earlier and quicker. And now Minecraft. One of the most popular games ever. It is #1 on all of the charts with over 25 million active users every single day. It is a game which is built upon the fundamental principle of procedural generation. However, in its early release, it also had some flaws. And I'm going to talk about the flaws of procedural generation. Its main flaw is it consumes a lot of data and it consumes a lot of memory to produce even more data. And unfortunately, in order to build this fascinating world which I speak of, you might have to use a lot of memory and it can be extremely expensive. But that doesn't limit us because there is the future. In the future, we could hypothetically implement procedural generation in all sorts of varied industries. We could implement it in vaccine development to speed up the process a lot. We can implement it in art, music. We can implement it in biology and geography. We can implement it anywhere because it can help us sort through all sorts of these algorithms. So thank you very much for listening to me. That's all for now. So my very first question will be, in your opinion, are there any industries which could greatly benefit from the implementation of procedural generation?
Jules, are you with us?
Do you believe that there are any industries which could benefit a lot from the implementation of procedural generation?
Do you know the answer?
Right. Do you guys have any questions for me? Alright, that's what I thought. Anyways, thank you for listening to me and kind of
Well, anyway, thank you very much.
That's the end of this. I posted 3 tests at Lyceum this week, and in my first year at Lyceum, I can say that your time at this Lyceum is definitely worse, because we have hosted together with Georgi 3 tests, and I can say Georgi will share his opinion about these 3 tests later on. But I can say that when we were at with the 8th year, it was good. Then with the 9th, it was better, and with the 10th, it's amazing. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, for your time, for your effort, for your English, for your ideas, for your intelligence, and we wish you all the best with your future and career and so on. All the best. Now, the panel of judges have hard job of deciding on who is the best. Yes, it takes time. I believe not a lot, about 2-3 minutes. Please stay with us here in this room, and soon we'll find out who's the winner today.